Crazy Karen mom tries to force her daughter into our corporate training video.
I was part of a team shooting a short corporate training video. It was on visitor policies for front office workers of a regional healthcare operation. It showcased various scenarios involving visitors that might come up on the job and the do's and don'ts in each case. No one was chasing an Oscar here, but it was still quite high budget and professional. With one exception. The corporation had granted us access to a front office area at one of their locations to use as a set, but they hadn't thought to notify all the practitioners in the building that they'd be shooting. It was a weekend, when they're typically closed for business, so I guess they just took for granted things would be shut down. But there are dozens of private offices of employees in these buildings, and a couple people chose to work weekends. As a result, their patients and clients kept streaming through the lobby while we tried to do this. For the most part, it didn't actually matter. Those who even noticed us at all could see we were filming and at worst took a couple pictures, then left well enough alone. Until the Karen and Karen Jr. breezed in. But we'll call them Wanda and Wanda Jr. because my mother is named Karen and she's a wonderful woman. And my ex-wife is named Wanda, and this is exactly the shit I could see her getting up to. Anyways, we were shooting a scenario in which a third-party contractor approaches the desk attempting to gain entry, e.g., a delivery person, a maintenance worker, etc. We were using a water guy. There's an elaborate procedure that's supposed to be demonstrated in the video. It takes several excruciating shots to get correct. We're finally approaching the finish line when, oh my god, are you making a movie? My daughter is an actress. She'd be great in any movie. Give her any line to read, any part. She will nail it. What kind of movie is it? We had a PA who was assigned to play defense against anything like this when we realized the building was semi-open to the public, but things had been going so smooth for so long, he took his eye off the ball. A crew member pulled her to the side and patiently explained, "Sorry, Mom, no movie. Just a corporate thing. You can go that way, to your appointment." Trying to politely but clearly signal that she needed to move along. That went in one ear and immediately out. She grabbed Wanda Jr. and dragged her over, practically shrieking at this point. "Oh good. No, that's so good. Things like this prove dynamism. It'll be priceless for her real. And you'd be lucky to have her, trust me. Any part, just name any part, and she'll blow it out of the water. You should see her do Titanic. Actually, speaking of, but name any part. She's ready." Wanda Jr. looked anything but ready. She looked exhausted, mortified, and a little nervous. I didn't know if she was scared by the confrontation or at the premise of being given a role. Not that it mattered. The content of these videos is dictated by powers that be. We can't just go adding anything. A more senior crew member tried to reason with them at this point, realizing the whole ordeal was really beginning to hold us up. He emphasized to Wanda, "This is a training video for this business. That means it will only ever be seen by people who work here, and not even every single one of them. Those who do see it, you know. There isn't even a credits. So, please." He gestured broadly at our operation that had ground to a halt, hoping the point had been made. "Okay, so just put her in as an extra or something. She doesn't have to speak. You're all so sensitive." Wanda griped. You almost had to admire her dedication at that point, but she wasn't advocating for herself. She was haranguing us on behalf of her daughter who was cowering in a corner a ways away, seemingly totally uninterested in any of this. A few of us got together and discussed our next steps. We decided to just continue shooting and hope for the best. We did, and you can guess what happened. Wanda dragged Wanda Jr. back over and tried to plop her down in the middle of the shot. We reset at a slightly different angle and rolled again. Wanda herself made a ton of noise and did everything possible to be disruptive. We got together in a small group again. We discussed waiting and coming back to finish another day, but we were already severely behind schedule for that day, so would likely need an entire extra day of filming if we went this route, which was not logistically feasible. We discussed calling the authorities. We did have a film permit, but that doesn't go so long a ways in keeping strangers out as you'd think it does and isn't necessarily enough to even get the police out at all. Finally, we didn't want to generate any negative buzz with the company. We film corporate-type videos often, and we're not keen on a reputation of being hostile to clients or creating hostile scenes inside public-facing areas. Then, the PA had quite the idea. An upcoming scene was what to do when emergency services seek to enter the building, e.g., firemen, security, police, etc. And as such, we had a cop costume and an actor primed and ready to play a cop, all just laying around. We only had to cross our fingers that Wanda and Junior did not notice the cop had a same-day side hustle as a water guy. So, it took a little bit. Wanda planted her feet the entire time, taking glamour shots of Junior in front of our modest camera equipment. Then, the cop arrived. We recast him as a security guard so no one would go to jail for impersonating some public official. He swaggered up to the front desk and declared, "Someone contacted security, we'll need access," which is actually also more or less his first line. A few of us were nervous he'd forgotten the mission and defaulted to his practice it content. But no, the desk lady was unflappable. Everyone was on their game. "Thank you, sir. Was it an emergency or non-emergency call?" Also essentially the desk lady's first line. Now we were really all holding our breath. One of the senior crew steps in. "Yes? Hi, I called." He briefly explains that we're trying to film and what's gone on. Our officer nodded and told Wanda, quite authoritatively, "All right, ma'am, move along please. This section of the building is closed to the public and there's absolutely no loitering." She continued taking her glamour shots. "Photo and video are also strictly prohibited. That's a HIPAA violation. I might need to report that." Wanda huffed, puffed, and pouted, but she didn't know what to say. The best she could come up with was, "I had an appointment. I can be here if I want to." To which our officer replied, "No, ma'am. You can be in the office where you had your appointment. And if they've asked you to leave, then you have to go." The rest of the building is closed but for traffic to and from private offices. Think of it this way, if I have an appointment in Dr. Smith's office, am I entitled to go into Dr. Jones's office just because it's in the same building? Or am I entitled to stay in Dr. Smith's office for the rest of my life because I had an appointment there? He stared blankly at Wanda, who threw a stapler off the desk in her fury. "Oh no, there will be none of that. Let's go before I have to escalate the matter," our officer warned, with certainly no plan as to what he'd do next. So, we held our breath. But she left. This was during the writers, actors, everyone strike, so she yelled out as she left, "I'm going to report you to all the unions as scabs, fudgers," as though our corporate training video in Middle America was a union acting job. While it was frustrating to be off schedule, I mostly just feel bad for Wanda Jr. I hope she gets to spend plenty of alone time with Dad to even out the crazy.